Japanese legends say that if one night, while it's raining, you walk through a dark forest in Japan, you might hear the sound of a sword being drawn. No one is there, nothing is seen. But a strange kindness comes over you. You feel the air is full of respect, the scent of order, loyalty, and maybe the ghost of a samurai is protecting you. Samurai in Japan are a way of life, but what is their story?
Samurai were born out of the need for order and power in medieval Japan. In the 8th century, the Japanese government trained warriors to protect the lands and fight rebellions, who were later known as Bushi or samurai. But they weren't just mercenaries. Very soon, they became an independent and honorable class. Samurai means someone who serves, not just their master, but a code, and this code is called Bushido. Bushido means the way of the warrior, a complete manifesto of courage, loyalty, humility, righteousness, and respect. For a samurai, death was better than disrespect. They learned how to live, and more importantly, how to die. There was a famous sentence: "A samurai is someone who walks with death always behind his neck." And this belief made them always firm, silent, and humble in the heart of battles. From the 13th to the 16th century, samurai were at the height of power. In major internal wars, like the battles of the Sengoku period, the country was practically under the control of this class. They turned from servants into rulers, but peace is the enemy of warriors. With the rise of the shoguns in the Edo period, which lasted about 200 years, roughly between the 16th and 18th centuries, Japan entered an era of peace. Samurai no longer went to war. Instead of the battlefield, they turned to the pen, calligraphy, and philosophy. But with the arrival of modernity and the West, everything changed. There was a time in Japan when honor meant tying your sword tightly to your waist and walking in the street with straight shoulders. Being a samurai wasn't just a job, it was a kind of identity, like saying, "I am Japan" itself. But the times changed. By the mid-18th century, the seas were full of foreign steamships. In 1853, American Admiral Matthew Perry arrived in Japan with his Black Fleet and said, "Open the doors. It's time to enter the modern world." That moment was like a slap in the face of traditional Japan. Some intellectuals and princes realized that if they wanted to stand against colonial powers like Britain or America, they had to rebuild Japan from scratch. That's when the Meiji reforms began, a quiet cultural, economic, and political revolution. The government decided to abolish the feudal system, convert taxes from agriculture to money, create a modern national army, and most importantly, dissolve the samurai class. Some samurai resisted. There was even a famous rebellion, the Satsuma Rebellion, in 1877, led by one of the last true samurai, Saigo Takamori. They drew their swords, but the modern army with guns and cannons defeated them. And that became the official endpoint for the samurai. Well, society was both scared and curious. Western clothing, modern schools, trains, telegraphs, all of these convinced the people that the future would no longer be written by the sword. With the abolition of the feudal system, Japan was able, in just a few decades, to become an industrial country with a modern army and strong economy. It's a strange contradiction. To save the soul of Japan, they had to eliminate part of its identity. The samurai left the scene of power, but their code, Bushido, became the hidden spirit behind the structure of modern Japan. Respect, diligence, order, commitment. Today, If you want to find a real samurai, you shouldn't look for someone with armor and a sword. You should go into the glass towers of Tokyo, inside the commercial offices of Japan's massive modern companies. The truth is that some of Japan's biggest companies either come from samurai families or were built with the same spirit and code of Bushido. Take Mitsubishi, for example. Its founder, Yataro Iwasaki, came from a samurai family. When the samurai era ended, he put down his sword and turned to business. But that spirit, loyalty, diligence, discipline, stayed with him and became the main pillars of his company. Or Mitsui and Sumitomo, two of the oldest business families in Japan, who generations earlier had roots in the warrior class. They learned that power isn't just in war, it's in building, investing, and creating trust as well. Now let's get to companies like Toyota and Panasonic. True, they didn't directly come from samurai families, but their work culture is deeply inspired by the Bushido Manifesto. Loyalty to the team, respect for the customer, constant improvement, tireless work, sacrifice for the group. All of these are the same values a samurai had to live by. At first glance, what connection can a car company have with an ancient warrior? But if you look deeper, you'll see that warrior spirit is still alive. Only its sword has become technology, and its battlefield has become the global market. Maybe today, no one wears a katana anymore, but if you look at Japan's work culture, precision, and people's behavior, you'll see that the samurai is still alive, only its shape has changed. Movies and series like The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise may not be completely accurate, but they showed part of the Bushido spirit. And recently, the critically acclaimed series Shogun, with a deeper and more faithful look at samurai, showed that samurai weren't just warriors. They were highly intelligent people whose thinking was a major weight in their decision-making. Maybe the sound of swords is no longer heard, but the Bushido code still breathes in Japanese culture, in the behavior of bank employees, the discipline of factory owners, loyalty to the company, and even in politeness on the streets. Samurai have died, but Bushido is still alive. If you found this story interesting, be sure to check out our other videos on the NEXVO Cast channel. In the first episode of our channel, we talk about important people and figures from history. Before I forget, make sure to leave us a comment. If you could go back to ancient Japan, would you want to be a samurai, or would you prefer to live a different kind of life?